Good evening and welcome back to 31 Horror Nights. It's October 17th and tonight's movie is Searching. Now this is another one of the movies that's kind of on the spectrum. It's not purely a horror movie, it's marketed more as like a mystery thriller type of movie, but considering what the trailer's like, I think it's going to do just fine. Quite literally, the only reason why I know about this movie is that I was looking up like best found footage movies and I saw the list of the highest rated found footage films on IMDb. I got two movies that I'm watching this month that I haven't seen yet that were from that list. The first one was the #1 movie, Searching. This is an entirely, I think it's like a screen recording. It's sort of like what they did with Unfriended, where it like shows like webcams and stuff like that, all like from the point of view of the screen of a computer. In this movie, we got a dad played by John Cho, who is looking for his daughter who went missing recently. And the police is doing their thing, but he's also looking through like who she was talking with, what she was up to, any clues to help find where she is. And in the process, it seems like she hid a lot of things from him and like told him things were one way when they were actually another way. This movie is interesting in the fact that found footage is usually like indie movies. Like Hollywood doesn't really do it that much. They did it with Cloverfield, but there aren't really a lot of examples I can think of. But this is like a big studio-backed movie with some big names in it. This is like a Hollywood production for a movie that is all found footage and like screen recordings. And it was well received. So I'm interested to see how this turns out. I'm gonna go watch it. Okay. I finished watching Searching, and that movie was brilliant. Every year, there's this one movie where I know that it needs to get a 10 out of 10. In the first year, it was The Conjuring 2, and I didn't give it a 10 out of 10. Retroactively, I gave it a 10 out of 10. The second year, it was The Haunting. Last year was Butterfly Kisses, and now this is Searching. This is a 10 out of 10 movie. This movie had relatable characters, a brilliant editing style, and a story with twists and turns that kept me on the edge of my seat until the very end. To say that this movie exceeded my expectations is an understatement. I think the first thing I want to talk about is the genius use of the screen recording as like a medium for telling a story. It begins with I at the very beginning, I was thinking like, okay, this kind of feels like a commercial because it shows like the lives of this family of three, the mom, the dad, and the daughter, Margot. And you see them growing up, and then you realize this is pulling an Up, and you're gonna see the mom die in like 10 minutes. And just like with Up, in that short amount of time, they got you to feel for this family, for these characters and the loss that they face. And then we cut to present day, which in the movie is 2017, and you see that the daughter and the dad have grown apart over the years since the mom died. And I think it was 2 years since the mom died. And it was really sad to watch because you can tell that there's this disconnect there. So after Margot signs off for the last time, it keeps going, and there's a few questions like, why is she not here? Did she leave her laptop at the house? Did she skip school to go on a camping thing? But eventually it becomes clear that nobody actually knows where Margot went. And then the investigation starts. The two main characters in this movie are the dad, played by John Cho, I believe his name was David Kim, and the lead investigator on the case, who's played by Deborah Messing. Her name was, I believe, Rosemary Vick. And these two work off each other very well because you kind of see throughout the movie that the dad has kind of been suppressing anger for a long time, and this causes him to erupt at a lot of points in this movie because this is so stressful, and you feel like there's been a lot that he's been holding down for years at that point. And then we got Messing's character, Detective Vick, and she's like very like cool, calm, and collected, but you can tell that she cares, and you can tell that she wants to help him. But I really think that the star of the show is the person who edited this movie. Let me look that up right now. Nick Johnson and Will Merrick, give these people an Oscar. They did an amazing job editing this movie. Like the cuts, the transitions, everything came together. It felt so natural to be watching this. It felt like you were there watching it happen in real time. There were several moments where they'll take advantage of like the screen recording as like a medium, and they'll see like him type out a message and then like wait a minute and then like delete it and then type out something else. Or you'll see him like about to select something and you'll see his cursor hover over it. And nothing that isn't on the computer can be heard. So you don't like hear him talking or something unless it's like on a FaceTime call. You don't hear like him like sighing or anything. You only see what he's doing on the computer. But even with just that, they were able to get across so much. And another amazing thing about this movie was the mystery of it all. Because this story, it seems like there's absolutely nothing to go on, but you see the dad keep digging and just finding every possible avenue. He makes an Excel spreadsheet, or whatever the Google Docs equivalent of an Excel spreadsheet is, and he just lines out every single person his daughter has ever interacted with online, ever. And it becomes this like thing where he's putting everything he possibly can into this investigation. And you get caught up with him, like you want him to find his daughter. Going back to Pixar, this does kind of remind me of Finding Nemo, in that you see like the journey of a dad who messed up and he's trying so hard to make it right. But on the more adult mystery thriller side of things, there were several moments when I was watching this movie that my jaw dropped. This movie kept its twists up, it kept me guessing the entire time, and all kept building up to a brilliant conclusion that I can't talk about right now because I don't want to spoil it, because I want you to watch this movie. Yes, I am talking to you. Watch this movie. There is nothing about this movie that didn't work. The acting was great. The directing was great. The editing was phenomenal. Just the screenplay was amazing. And the way that this was told with the screen recordings, I couldn't imagine a better way of communicating this story. I don't know if this is how it really happens in the real world, but this shows what a situation like this, how it would play out and how it would be handled in the digital age. 2 thumbs up, 5 stars, 10 out of 10. I can't say enough good things about this movie. Please check it out. It is wonderful. And now I really want to talk spoilers, so please watch it. Okay, spoilers start now. The investigation really doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. But like things start like opening up. Like I discussed earlier that it seems like she was hiding a lot from her dad, and she was had blogs that she didn't talk to her dad about, obviously, but she didn't really have any friends. She said she was going to piano lessons, but she was really just taking the money and depositing it into an account, and then she took $2,500 out of a Venmo and just left in a car. And you see, like, John, like, follow these tiny little clues, but he knows his daughter well enough at that point to be able to, like, put together where she went. And then he sees the car in a lake. The body isn't there, but the car is in a lake, and everybody starts looking for her. And you see something else come up where he thinks his brother might have something to do with it, and there's a really dramatic scene there, but that also turns out to be a dead end. And then it seems like the case is closed because there's this guy who's like an ex-convict who made a taped confession and then killed himself. And I knew it wasn't going to end there. Obviously, there was a lot of time left, but also just like from a thematic standpoint, it can't end there. And then you see him start to like slowly paint this picture based on what meager clues he has. And then like you go back to a lead that you thought was a dead end, but it turns out it wasn't. And then you discover that his closest confidant this entire time, Detective Vic, she has something to do with this. Her son, the son that she talked about before in the movie, her son was the one who was responsible for Margot going missing. There was like a thing with catfishing on the, it's basically YouNow, but they call it YouChat. There was the thing with the catfishing, that's why the money was there. And it basically, he accidentally, well, he purposely pushed her, but I don't think he meant to push her into a ravine, and he freaked out, called his mom. She, like, in order to protect her son, covered it all up and volunteered for the investigation. And there was this moment where it's like thinking like, well, she's still dead anyway. It's been 5 days and she's in a ravine. But there was the part earlier in the movie where they had to call off the search for a day because it was storming. And I remembered that when they said, there's no way she's alive. She can't go 5 days without water. And the dad went, no, she only had to go 2 days without water because it stormed earlier this week. And then you see them go to the ravine and they pull her out, and it's just such a satisfying moment to see him finally find his daughter. And then the last part of the movie is the daughter, like, there was a thing where, like, she stopped loving the piano because it made her think of her dead mom, but they apparently worked it out off screen, and they text each other, and you can see that their relationship has gotten a lot better. You can compare the text conversations at the end to the ones at the beginning. You can see how much this relationship has grown between the two of them. And then the last part of the movie is there was a picture of her in the hospital when she like was first saved, and she's smiling and she's with her dad and he's smiling, and she changes that to her desktop icon, and then she logs out, and that was really nice. I have no idea why more people aren't talking about this movie. It was amazing. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's just an incredible movie. The acting, the directing, the writing, the editing, the twists and turns, the rise and falls, it all works. I can't think of anything they could have done that would have made this movie better. I'm not as good as articulating why something is good as much as I am articulating why something is bad. So I don't know if I did this movie justice. Probably not. But all I can really say to sum up is please watch this movie. I think it will be worth your time. It was certainly worth mine. It is probably going to end up being the best movie I've watched this month. And if I'm going to watch one better, I am excited for that prospect. I'll see you guys tomorrow.